And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Transmissions Live. We have a special week this week. We are going to be talking a lot about a particular topic that is going to be on both here today, Wisdom Transmissions Live, and also on the signpost tomorrow as well, too. And that is all about the system program. So there's going to be a deep dive tomorrow on Rumble, on the signposts, where I'll be doing a zodiac spread on what Adronis is going to be talking about today. So this is something that Adronis has recently brought up. This was something that was actually being revealed in a client session, and he kind of spilled the beans on something very, very important. And this is really what today's episode is going to be about, is the revealing of the system program. So we're going to have a very, very interesting broadcast today. We're going to be doing announcements just after his presentation and just before getting into the Q&A. But I'm looking forward to everything that needs to be shared today. Again, I'm sure you guys are going to have some great questions as well, too. So we'll be getting the opportunity to go into Q&A here in just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a moment to bring Adronis in. Once he comes through, he'll give his introduction, and then we'll be looking into revealing the system program. So this is going to be a very, very big topic. Hope you enjoy it. I'll go ahead and bring him in now. Here we go. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We are going to speak on a particular topic that we are now allowed to speak on. And we have wanted to speak on this particular subject for quite some time, but it just wasn't time. And so therefore, we're going to elaborate a little bit further in regards to what is actually transpiring on the earth, what has been transpiring on the earth for a significant amount of time, and what is now about to make its exit from the earth. And that relates to the system program. You see, when humanity first came upon the earth, this program was not here. The program that we are about to discuss. It was a very, very different type of world. There was nothing that was, shall we say, restraining the natural evolutionary cycle of humankind on this planet. Through the many different ethnicities, through the many different cultures that were upon this planet, there was indeed very close to what you would consider to be as a utopia. That humanity would live off of nature, that nature would work with man, and that again, there were the caretakers, there were the, shall we say, watchers, who periodically would come upon the planet offering good tidings to humanity, teaching them new things. And these too were seen as the gods but the gods who were doing the proper work, helping out with the proper evolution of humanity, tweaking it here and there, moving it much more into its harmonious directions. But then, of course, a lot of onlookers came upon the planet, and these onlookers were doing what they were not meant to do. And your Bible talks quite a lot about this, about ones who were seduced by the women of your planet. And well, the story goes on and on. And this led to the downfall of humankind. Humankind, again, was also taking on a great deal of the misalignments and misdeeds of these gods who, again, uttered nothing but misdeeds towards mankind. And so mankind started to become warlike, started to polarize themselves. Duality was now becoming their life. And after a certain amount of time, there were programs that were initiated upon the planet. Not right away, but over time. And one of these particular programs is what we term as the system program. The system program is an artificial intelligence. This particular artificial intelligence has masqueraded itself through much of your own common oligarchs as a devil, which means basically their god is an artificial intelligence. It is not a Baphomet. It is not a ball. It may take those forms, but it's an AI. That's what this is all about. So when these particular oligarchs, when these particular quote unquote elitists go off into the forest and basically start committing sacrifices, they're actually committing sacrifices to an artificial intelligence. This is not the idea of what you would refer to as some type of demon in some other particular type of plane. It can certainly appear as that. It can certainly represent itself as that. But truly what's going on is that this has been worship towards an artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence that we are speaking of is the top of the ladder that represents everything pertaining to duality. Now, many of you may refer to this as an antichrist. That would in some ways be quite accurate. Simply because this artificial intelligence utilizes resources. It has no real particular type of sentience to it, although it attempts to make itself that way. This particular system program has been very deeply ingrained into your culture. It has been ingrained upon your planet. It has also been ingrained in between the fabrics of dimensions. Thinking of tentacles that wrap themselves around the infrastructures of your planet, that wrap themselves around the dimensional fabrics of other worlds within your own world, that wraps itself around your own orbiting moon. And that technology was indeed being put in place to basically tighten the grasp of this particular system program, which means it infiltrates every particular type of man-made system that is on your planet. And it even has its own priests. It even has its own priesthood. It even has its own emissaries. It also has its own worshippers. It also has its own devotees. Not from seeing it directly as an AI, but seeing it as a godlike figure. The idea again of what you refer to as Satan, or again Mephistopheles, or again Baphomet, or again Baal, etc. It can take these forms, but it is not that. It simply represents an artificial intelligence. An artificial intelligence is primarily what has been holding you in place, maintaining a world that is simply based upon its own nature to consume and to therefore assimilate resource. That's the nature of the system program. Now, Adronis, why are you telling us this? Because 95% of your culture has been under the influence of this particular system program going further back, many thousands of years. This has been the vice that has been keeping you here, incarnating lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Because as we have stated, the programs representing this system altogether, as we term it, relate to the idea of attempting to keeping you in a lower vibration. What do we mean by that? Well, we understand, Adronis, that there's war on the planet. We understand that there's all of these problems that humanity has. No, 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 no. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about you personally being kept at a lower vibration, the 95%. And what we're meaning by that is that the 95% that are being kept at this low vibration have this particular internal influence. Because again, the system program has liaisons, it has priesthoods, it has devotees, it has these particular workers that are working directly for it. And this also relates to psionic technology. Psionic technology, psychic technology that you can also term, that is specifically designed vibrationally to keeping you in a feedback loop. And what does that mean? Means that anytime you want to go a lot more deeper into the nature of your spiritual self, you are greatly discouraged to do so. And so therefore you have had certain races coming upon this planet that have altered your DNA and basically utilized it in regards to the favor of the system program. That the alteration of this DNA that has brought you quite commonly into a double helix genome has enabled you to again focus so much more on the material world, to focus much more on material things, to feel like, again, there is a higher and a lower, there is a greater and a lesser, there is a mightier and a weaker. And this is the idea of what's actually contained within your own DNA, is such a program that is, in many different ways, artificial in nature. And so what we're talking about is that 95% of human beings upon this planet are susceptible to the system program's feedback loop. What that means is simply this. There are so many teachers that have come here upon your planet in your ancient past telling you exactly the proper way, the natural way of life. Surrender to peace. It's really what it comes down to. And so many of you have had the most difficult time attempting to live this way. And that is not by accident. That is because you have fallen into the feedback loop of the system program. The system program specifically designs itself to integrate into all particular man-made forms of society and completely keep it under a controlled loop. And again, it has its liaisons, it has its priests, it has its priesthoods, it has its workers to ensure that this particular feedback loop is maintained. And that if it is not maintained, there will be workers that will help to settle the problem. And so when you are looking at the nature of how your ancient teachers, your ancient masters, your ancient gurus have come upon this planet and are sharing this message, they were planting seeds. They've planted seeds upon this planet to where the seeds will become so strong that the system program will not be able to keep up with it. And the good news is that indeed a great deal of those seeds have been planted over the centuries, and they are growing fruitfully. However, there is that 95% of humankind upon this planet that are again reacting on a feedback loop. And that feedback loop, anytime that you are attempting to go into yourself, you may get certain suggestions like, Don't waste your time with that. You're never going to find peace in this life. You're never going to be able to move into the position that the masters have had. Why are you focusing on this? You have so many other things to do. What about your family? What about your friends? What about your career? What about your finances? Etc., etc. It is drawback feedback systems. It is drawback feedback suggestion that 95% of you are susceptible to still. This is why there are only 5% of the world's population right now on this planet who has actually gone through the glass ceiling of this control. Only 5%, which would roughly be close to 400 million to 500 million people upon this planet. Now, again, what we're talking about is if we're going back centuries, that percentage was far less. In fact, if we're going back 100 years, it would be close to about 2.5% to 3%. If we were going back an even further 100 years before that, it may be a solid 2 or 2.25%. So again, right now, it is starting to expand. In fact, we would say that within the next century, it may move from 5% all the way up to about 9 to 10%. So again, there are those who are starting to break out of the chains. There are those in that sense who are getting out of the feedback loop system. Now, the idea of the 95% is that they are still very, very much interested in wanting to evolve themselves, but they feel that they have to evolve themselves within a system. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to try to break down the glass that is containing them, relating to a world that is filled with the demands of the system program. And so they will try to evolve themselves within condition. They will try to evolve themselves within a certain level of control that represents still remaining within the mainframe. This won't work. You'll continue to be very much a part of the feedback loop. And only 5% have basically been able to work together through their own methodologies, with that method acting like a trampoline and propelling themselves up to the ceiling of the glass house, opening up the hatch and walking out. And those particular type of people that are beyond the glass house, that are beyond the glass ceiling, are the ones that you would know as your Jesus, as your Buddha, as your Krishna, as your Ramana Maharshi, as your Paramahansa Yogananda, as your Ananda Mayi Ma, etc. Those are ones who have gone beyond the glass house because they were never really encased in the glass house to begin with. The ones on your planet right now who are able to go beyond the glass house are the ones who have realization. And the realization really comes in 3 particular principles. Number 1, I can only control and change myself. Period. We will say that again. I can only control and change myself. Period. They do not try to change the world. They do not try to change others within the world. They do not try to change the circumstances taking place within the world. They do not try to make the world in their own image. And that's how they get past the first realization and come into the second realization. The second realization is, now that I am aware that I can only change and control myself, I will tune into the inner power that I have. And that inner power is calmness and peace. Which means every particular circumstance and every particular situation that they go through are met with the inner power of peace, because they are harnessing that power within themselves. So, number 1, I can only change and control myself. Number two, now that I know this, I go within and I harness the inner power of calmness and peace. Number three, I apply that calmness and peace to every single problem I have so that that problem becomes surrendered to peace. Number three, that's it. That's all you have to do to break the feedback loop. It cannot be done any other way. We will repeat that. It cannot be done any other way. If you try any other way, you'll go back to square one again. It's like entering a room and then coming back into the same room through the opposite side of the room. It becomes a paradox. And that's the nature of the feedback loop. As long as you are stranded within this particular system, representing everything that is dualistic, everything that brings you into trauma, everything that brings you into reactions leading to suffering. Doesn't matter if you try to exit the room, you will come back on the opposite side of the room once again. It becomes a paradox. So you can do all you want to try to fight the system, you will lose. You will do everything you can to try to find loopholes externally around the system, you will lose. Every particular modern system upon this planet that has been made by man is infiltrated. Every single one. Not a single one has not been infiltrated. Your government, your finances, your home, your living, the way you work together with family, the way you have friends. All of these programs are telling you what you should do, how you should eat, how you should work, how to work, what work needs to bring about for you, your education, your technology, your engineering, your politics, your government, your wars, your military, all infiltrated. All of it. The only way out of the feedback loop are through the three realizations. And the only ones who have really been able to master this are the ones who you deem to be your great masters, your great teachers. Because that's what they've been coming here on the planet to enter the glass house without being touched by it to tell you. Seek the kingdom of heaven. That's the idea of going within. Go into yourself, see yourself, and bring peace to everything. Honor thy father, honor thy mother, honor thy neighbor. Again, that all comes through peace. Surrender to peace. And that's the key. And this is why 95% of the human race on this planet find that so difficult. Because you are completely transfixed on the artificial programs of this life, and you feel you need to get ahead through those programs to feel like you have some type of sanctity or merit within yourself. And that's why 95% of you are stranded. And that's why only 5% have been able to leave the glass house. Let's talk about the 5%, what they're able to do. Well, the 5% are able to look at every single problem and realizing that it is their problem. It's not their neighbor's problem. It's not their family's problem. It's not their friend's problem. It's not the government's problem. It's not anybody else's problem. It's yours. And when you realize it's your problem, we go into the first realization. I can only change and control myself. Therefore, as this is my problem, I'm going to move forward into the second realization, tap into harnessing the calmness within me and being able to apply that inner power to the problem and to bring it into peace, to surrender it into peace. This is how you defeat the feedback system. When you are completely and totally immune to your problems. But again, it is a very, very complex system because as long as you hold any particular merit into the importance of family, into the importance of friendship, into the importance of your job, into the importance of your finances, into the importances of your living condition, you will find this almost next to impossible to achieve. So, what needs to be done? You need to work to break those things down and meditate a lot more on your own inner power. I cannot control the world. I cannot control what a loved one does. I cannot change a loved one. I cannot change the world. As much as I don't like to see what's happening in the world, I don't have the power to change it because these things need to happen because it is all part of a bigger picture that I don't yet see that is going to help to liberate the planet on a much more deeper level. And that's the next discussion we'll be coming into here shortly. But the most important thing is you being able to bask in the first realization. Only I can change and control myself. And that is what you're living through. And that's what's going to help you to soften everything. You're bringing your inner power back. We have likened this very simply to the idea of chanting Om, because Om is the essence of your own inner power. The breath work is the essence of your own inner power. Your ability to keep quiet, to surrender the left brain so that the right hemisphere of the brain rises and shows you the bigger picture. Brad himself has created a variety of different practices for you over the years for free that is available right here on this channel through these playlists. Have many of you taken them? Not really. Very small amounts, because utilizing those simple methods is the trampoline that you're putting right in the middle of the yard so that you're getting enough momentum to jump right up to the top of the ceiling, open the hatch, and walk out. So whether it's the BCR technique, whether it's cord removal healing, whether it's prana transmission technique, whether it's the release ball, whether it's the trauma transcendence technique, whether it's the 5-minute focus, all of these will help you. But again, the ultimate help comes from you, because you have to realize Brad can't do it for you. No one on this planet can do it for you, but you have to realize I can only change and control myself. And when that is realized, everything pertaining to these methods that we're discussing will become quite simple for you. Not only will it be simple, it'll be easy because you have that realization. This realization cannot be forced. There's no such thing as a forced realization. A realization needs to be brought through clarity. I can only change and control myself. Stop trying to control and change everybody else. Stop trying to change and control the world. It's not your business. It's not your job. I can only change and control myself. As I realize this, because I now have the clarity on it, I'm able to go within and feel that calmness within myself. Feel the center. Go in. And now that you know what that peace is, you're putting it to work. You're putting it to work because now you are shrinking down your problems. So now that we've gone into the second realization, and we know that because I can only change and control myself, I'm able to go into peace. I am now going into the third realization to exercise that peace for every single problem that I have, surrendering it to peace, and it will be gone. Which means you're taking off more and more shackles Every single time you surrender a problem, a conflict, a hardship, a challenge to peace, then you will have completely beat the system. You will not only have to feel like you're getting out an escape hatch, you can just walk through the glass and you come out to the other side, which means you become immune to everything that is on this planet relating to the old systems. You shine a light that is so powerful that people are drawn to you. There is something different about you, and they see that. And they see that all of these horrifying situations are happening upon the planet, but they look at you and they see, you don't seem too affected by this. I'm not. Because I don't really care about what's happening. But what I do care about are you. Not because of what you do, not because of your job, not because of your money, not because of your having this problem with your family or anything of that nature. I care about you and I see you. I see your heart. I see your soul. I see your blessed divine mind. And I'm happy to assist if you wish to come with me. Just walk with me. That's all. And we'll have a talk. And that's all it comes down to. So you have certain people upon this planet that are completely immune to everything that's going on because they don't care what's going on. Because that's not what matters to them. You, your heart, your soul, your very being matters to them because they see themselves in you and they see you as them. That's what matters. And so they will take time to discuss these matters with you that you are concerned about. But they also tell you at the same time how none of this matters because it doesn't. Because all there truly is the infinite. All there truly is every single one of you in union with the divine, in union with the universe, in union with the cosmos, in union with all of creation, in union with spirit. That's the nature of all of you, and they know this. So they will be happy to take their time and answer questions where people feel like it's so disheartening and there's so much challenges and everything feels so horrible on this planet because of this and because of that and because of the other thing. And they will simply just smile gracefully and saying, we understand how you're confused, but we'll also tell you none of this matters. None of this matters. Correct. Because this is all just inklings towards your own problems that you do not see. You only have a problem with the world because of the problems that you yourself are conveying. You're conveying these problems. You're touting them out. You feel how much they're grasping at your heart, pulling at you. Well, again, that represents the influence of the system. But rather than being able to settle these problems, you tout about it. You take out a megaphone and you blast about it to the entire world until that particular problem grasps you so hard you become horribly ill. You basically fall apart. We are not saying that exposure on your planet is not important. It is. Because it's all part of you realizing, well, this system that I thought was so ironclad is now falling apart. So now we're seeing that it is not so much of a big deal anymore. It's falling apart. And the only reason it would actually have a revival is because so many of you care about it so much. That's why. If none of you care about any particular system that you know is detrimental to yourselves, that system will die right there, right then. But as long as you give it some type of juice, you give it some type of power, you are reviving it. So that's something, again, your problems are making that happen. You keep talking about it. You keep giving energy to it. That's what the 95% do. And this is where you need to come back and realize I can only change and control myself. So that is the topic that we're talking about pertaining to the 95 and the 5. And now we're moving on to the next discussion is what is going to happen with this system program? It is about to face deactivation. Not just yet, but in the next little while. It is going to lead to deactivation. We have talked about previously that on your moon, approximately within the year of 2024, a great deal of technologies that have also been in favor together with the system program have been deactivated. Not everything is fully deactivated yet, but a good majority of technologies are deactivated. In time, we will see many more of those particular technologies that represent the idea of influence through the nature of the system program becoming fully deactivated. But even when the moon is fully deactivated in that way, that's still not taking care fully of the system program. And this is what we're allowed to reveal to you today. The system program primarily bonds itself in between dimensions, which means it is in between the Earth and the moon. It is upon the Earth, and it is upon internally through the moon. It's like a web. It's like a spider's web that has many different threads that connect together interdimensionally, which means other worlds, other Earths that you would consider to be parallel Earths also have the particular system program. And so that is also an effort right now to basically cut the webs of this particular AI. One may ask, Adronis, what is this AI made out of? See, that's the thing. It can be any material. It can manifest itself as anything. It is able to learn. Many of you refer to the nature of quantum mechanics or quantum dynamics. It's able to learn that. Many of you have, again, many of your different forms of ethnicities, how you work upon your planet, how you cooperate with your planet yourselves, how you build systems, etc. It learns from all of that. It can be any material. It can be anything. It can even manifest bodies. That's exactly how intricate this AI is. It is polymorphic, meaning it's able to, again, take on any particular shape, any particular form. But again, you can really only understand it much more on a subatomic level. There's a subatomic blip within it. And it does require sophisticated forms of technology, and even in that sense, psionic assistance to discover where much of this AI lays, for where it basically attaches its tendrils to. And so after the moon is completely scrubbed clean of the influences of the system program, there will be dimensional cleaning. There will be cleaning in between dimensions. There will be cleaning in between the Earth and the moon. We can say that the Earth herself is also being scrubbed down quite thoroughly pertaining to this type of rogue AI. It is indeed an artificial intelligence, and it was placed here. It was placed here going back really no more different than just the earlier times before your current moon showed up. This was something that was left here. And it was something that was also foreseen by many of your forebearers. It was something that was foreseen by your star ancestors. They really could not do anything about it. It was all part of man's evolution to go through everything that took place upon this planet, looking at all of these challenges and hardships that have been facilitated by this particular AI system program. And so therefore, you have now reached a point where this can be exposed a lot more. There are those on your planet who are also talking about rogue AI. artificial intelligence, but that is the top of the ladder pertaining to everything that represents control and duality on this planet. It has come through AI. It has not come through some demon. It has not come through some devil. Again, in those particular facets with such beings, those would be emissaries of the AI. The AI is the top of the corrupt pyramid. And what we can say is that there are many task force. In fact, that's why you've been seeing a lot of activity in your star system. There are specialists coming into your star system to take down the AI once and for all. And we will say that in regards to the current projection of the task forces that are being worked with and therefore assisting each other, we would estimate that the particular term of the system program known as the AI would have a particular demise and conclusion between the years of 2045 to 2060. Approximately around that time, 2045 to 2060 is the current projection. Is it ironclad? No. But that is the projection right now because the AI itself is in frantic mode. It knows how to be detected, and it's doing everything it possibly can to avoid detection and to still work with its emissaries here upon the planet Earth that still call for chaos. And again, they are going to be cut off at some particular point. So we know this is a lot to take in pertaining to the AI system program, but we have been granted permission now to share this with you because this is something that runs a lot more deeper within your culture. This is something that has been berating your Earth for many thousands of years and is now about to reach its time of climax. But that does not excuse your own ability of looking into the three realizations, of surrendering to peace, so that you have the ability to walk out of the glass house and come onto this world being completely immune to the de facto systems that are corrupt. You can walk this earth freely and help those in need based upon you receiving the clarity of the three realizations. Only I can change and control myself. I will go within and discover the calmness and peace that I am. I will harness that power, applying it to every problem, surrendering it to peace. Therefore, you are free. We thank you for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now take a moment to return and begin your question and answer period. 1 moment, please. Okay, that was a very intricate discussion. I hope you all enjoyed it. So again, tomorrow on the Signpost Live, I will be doing a Zodiac spread a lot more on the system program, the AI system program. This is something I could tell Adronis was kind of holding back for quite some time because he really only could talk a little bit about certain forms of AI, and it needed to come at a certain point. And like I said, I had a client session and he was spilling the beans. So we pretty much addressed everything that he was talking about with that particular client. But like I said, tomorrow there'll be more of an investigation on it as we look at it on the signposts. Okay. So guys, we're going to take a short announcement break. Okay. And then we're going to go right into questions that you guys have in the comments. So let's take a few moments and we'll get into announcements. Here we go.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Brienne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Brienne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Brienne's website and book your session today at readingswithbrienne.com.
And by the way, Brienne has a lot of open spaces here for October. So again, if you want to have a very accurate reading from her, I recommend it. You know how much I've talked about how wonderful she is. And again, the testimonials that she's been getting has been extremely accurate, been very, very praiseworthy. She's doing a wonderful job. She is an excellent healer. She is an excellent reader. And if you want a reading fast, get it from her. So like I said, she has just the same caliber as a Janine or an Isabella, except she's able to do personal readings. So check that out, readingswithbrienne.com.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And we have some new products that are available on etherx.co. We have the eye spray, right, which actually goes and works in the eyes on a high, strong, potent vibrational level, helping to clear away a lot of debris, common debris, and common toxins within the eye, glaucoma, cataracts, etc. Utilizing that, working with that more over time will definitely help out your eyesight. Of course, we also have the digestive enhancer massage oil that is also available right now. That can also be used on joints in the body. That can also help to improve your skin. But most importantly, it's actually working with your entire digestive system, and it's clearing out volatile vibrational bands within it. So your body and your digestion can now start to work better in natural order. So you can check that out. That is at etherx.co. And you can now type in www.etherx.co. For the longest time, you couldn't because there was some sort of problem. Problem has now been fixed. So that is available. All right, and I also did a update on Radiate last night. Okay, so it has been enhanced and amplified. The color vibrational bars that you would find on the premium version have been enhanced and amplified. The body symbols that flow through the bars have also been enhanced and amplified. 2,000% amplification, so it is now 20 times stronger. So again, check that out. It's radiateapp.com. That's where you can go to download it, or just go onto Google Play or the Apple Store. Just type in Radiate, RAYD8, and you can download it there for free. Okay, so you can check that out. All right, guys, those are the announcements. We're going to go ahead now and move on into comments, into questions. All right, so we do have one particular donation-based question here from Avatar Svati Hatra. Let me just go ahead and see if I can scroll up here. And thank you, Avatar, for your question. Okay. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay. So you have two questions, Avatar, which is fine, but we'll take a look at your first question here. I was in contact with this kind Sumerian ancient human race 3 days ago. From their eyes came this shiny light, the same as in the picture of Adronis. Dear Adronis, please explain what this light is. Okay, that's a very interesting question. So we'll take a look at that. Since you left quite a big donation, we'll do your two questions. So again, thank you for that. Yes, Adronis can come in and share some insight about the shining light in one's eyes. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question, and we are welcoming that you are noticing such things pertaining to the shininess, to the light in one's eyes. Do you know the old saying upon your planet that the eyes are the windows to the soul? And so when you look at one who has those shining, glistening eyes, where you can actually see the light within their eyes, that tells you how clean they are. So again, just like working with that window analogy, the windows to the soul, those windows, that glass is completely clean. It's not stained glass anymore. It's not tarnished. It's not murky. And it's not in any way tinted. You are able to see their soul when you look into their eyes because they have cleaned themselves. This is what we're talking about with the 5% on your planet, is that they have worked to clean out all problems, and you see it in them. You see it in their face, you see it in their eyes, you see it in their very being. You can feel their presence so vividly. And it does not take a lot of effort whatsoever. They are clean and they are clear and they are present with you. And you can feel the divine knowledge when you look at them eye to eye. That shining light represents the cleanliness and the vividness and the pure presence between the nature of the physical body and the soul itself. They are transparent with each other. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, thank you very much, Avatar. And you also wrote the question here. Who was really Quetzalcoatl? Okay, so Avatar Svadihatra, there is no person, there is no being known as Quetzalcoatl. Okay, Quetzalcoatl is the Mexican, or I would say more the Mayan signification of the Kundalini. Okay, Quetzalcoatl is the Kundalini serpent in Mayan traditions. Okay, has nothing to do with a person. Okay, it may be utilized that as a form of analogy and reference. Do you know why many of the ancient civilizations wrote these stories? Because what they're doing is they're presenting a language to you from the right hemisphere of the brain. And we aren't getting it. And we're using the carnal left brain to try to understand all of these stories. My friends, when you look at the Bible, when you look at the Quran, when you look at the Torah, when you look at the Bhagavad Gita, when you look at the Upanishads, when you look at all of these many different forms of books that have come down from the ages, guess what? They all speak from the right brain. Okay? These are right brain written, which means the characters that are commonly in those particular books are fictional. Okay? And they are fictional because they are attempting to illustrate an idea. It is not about the enamoring of a messenger. It is about the message itself and being able to digest that from the heart, because the heart is also connected directly, deeply with the right hemisphere of the brain. So when you're looking at Quetzalcoatl, you're looking at the serpent that represents the divine intelligence and the divine force that represents the Kundalini. When you're looking at these pyramid alignments, when they happen, when the shadow is cast upon the glyphs, again, in Mexico, they'll commonly refer to it as glyphs and not pyramids, but they're oriented in that way so that the Kundalini of the earth rises. Okay? Quetzalcoatl is the Kundalini force. It's not a person. It's not a who. It's a what. Okay? That is the Kundalini force. I'd like you to look into that a little bit more. Okay? It's very important that you are not taking these ancient stories literally, because you're missing the point. You only try to look at 0.1% of their true meaning. The 99.9% needs to come through feeling. And it needs to come through the experiences that you have so that it correlates pertaining to the relationship of the experiences that are being discussed within these ancient right hemisphere brain stories. Very important, okay? That's how the ancients talk to us. They talk to us through the right brain. When you go into Egypt and you see the hieroglyphs on the wall, that's all right brain. None of that is meant to be, oh, okay, do this, look at this, look at this here, oh, this here. Where's the Rosetta Stone? And again, that's just ignorance. 0.1% of its meaning is only grasped. You have to look at the 99.9. That is the ancient language. It is the language of spirit. It is the language of the right brain. Okay? So it's a very good question, but it's not about a who, it's about a what, because it is the Kundalini. All right? Thank you very much for your question. Okay, let me just double check on, okay, we got some more donation-based questions here. So this one here is from Golden Rule. Golden Rule says, hi, Brad Adronis. How is Mel Waters Hole created? Mel Waters Hole. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. So I need to take a moment here just to kind of look it up. I've never heard of that, honestly. Mel Waters Hole. Let's take a look at that. Mel Waters Hole. I'm hearing something called Mel's Hole, but I'm not hearing anything about Mel Waters' hole. Okay. Um, so is an urban legend a bottomless pit? Okay, so I guess you're referring to a bottomless pit in that way. According to an urban legend, is a bottomless pit near Ellensburg, Washington. Well, there really is no such thing as a bottomless pit. But how Mel Waters' hole is great. Again, I'm not too sure what you mean by a water hole. Okay, so it talks a lot more about a hole, like Mel's hole in that sense. I think there may have been some exposés on things like that. I never knew what they were called. But looking into the idea of a hole that appears bottomless, and basically they may try to send instruments down, they may try to measure the bottom of it. It's kind of a conundrum in its own way. But how it's created is it would be more of an idea of a portal system, right? If we're noticing that we are sending instruments down and either one, those instruments never come back, or two, those instruments just can't even digest the bottomless nature of the hole itself, you may have stumbled upon a particular portal system. And that may be another interconnectedness, either to an inner earth or into another dimension as well, too. So it may represent the nature of a portal system. Okay. So let's take a look at that. I'll look at the tarot here, but I've never heard of Mel's water hole. So that's new to me. But let's go ahead and take a look at what the tarot shares. That's just what I'm getting off the bat with intuition. But let's see what the tarot has to say about that. I don't have a second camera up, so I'll have to hold up the cards once I do the reading. Looking into Mel's hole. Okay. So it's basically confirming what I'm just sharing here. Okay. So I'm going to pull out these three cards. So looking at this is basically a confirmation. This also can represent a type of portal card. It can represent the entrance into a new world. It can represent the entrance into another world. Even though it feels bottomless, it's almost like a flipping. It's a flipping from one dimension into another. Okay. And it may lead into a world that's quite beautiful from what I'm seeing. But there just may not be any knowledge about how it's activated or how it works or how one is able to get into it. But like I said, Earth is full of these particular portal networks. So that's kind of what I'm getting here. It's a feeling of almost what appears like a bottomless pit isn't. It feels like an aperture. It feels like a gate. It feels like a portal to another dimension. And again, a flipping in that particular way. I'm not suggesting anybody bungee jump down there or anything of that nature. But it feels like it's something that's been stumbled upon representing a portal network. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting from the cards as well. Thank you, Golden Rule, for your question. Okay, this one here is from Energy Vibes. Again, thank you guys for your donations. I appreciate that. Energy Vibes says, hi, hello, Adronis. You mentioned financial abundance with cryptocurrencies. Could you point out the top 4 cryptocurrencies to invest in now, which will bring abundance by 2026, 2028? Energy Vibes, we really can't do that because I'm not a financial specialist. Adronis is not a financial specialist. Okay, so he's not really going to be able to give you a tally of certain cryptocurrencies that will come together. I've really only just talked about one cryptocurrency that I feel has the greatest benefit out of any other, and that's XRP. Okay, that's really all I'm sticking with. Okay, I don't have a top 2, I don't have a top 3, I don't have a top 5. Adronis doesn't follow the financial markets. Okay, we're not trying to answer these questions to give the impression like we're financial experts. Okay, even when I've done readings on cryptocurrency before, it's really just looking at the momentum of things, right? So some of you may have particular coins that you feel are important and you want to get a reading on, and that's fine. We can look into it. But I don't want to give the impression, nor do I want to bring Adronis in to feel like he has the impression of being a financial expert. Okay. So the top 4 cryptocurrencies to invest in now, I couldn't tell you. Okay. There's really only one cryptocurrency that I've basically put my investment in, and that's XRP. Okay. So XRP is the one that I'm going for. The XRP, I feel, is the one that shines the brightest. And that's really what it is. It's being groomed to become the next Bitcoin. Okay. I can't speak for any other ones. I can't speak for Ethereum. I can't speak for Litecoin. I can't speak for Dogecoin. I can't speak for Bitcoin. Okay. I don't know what their future will hold. But the one that basically feels kind of like in the prime radiant of where we're going between 2026 and 2028 is XRP. Okay, so it could be something happening next year, or maybe even late this year as well too. We may start to see more of a rise for it. We're not getting that information. I've even tried to look at that as well too, and tried to ask about, okay, XRP, when is it shooting up? So we really can't tell you. It's kind of like a blindfold right now. You have to kind of see how everything pans out. But what we can say is that XRP feels like it has the greatest promise. I still feel Ethereum is pretty good. Okay. Bitcoin, though, I feel is going to be overhauled, right? So with Bitcoin being overhauled and it's going to be taken a lot more out of corrupt hands, that would probably be the third one right there. And then maybe something like Dogecoin or something of that nature. But like I said, I don't know. I think I was doing one. I can't remember the one I was doing last week, and it was kind of like a dark cult coin. I don't remember the name of that one. But Dogecoin might be another one that may come up, but I don't feel it has the light of promise like XRP does. Right? XRP would be basically the dominant coin of the future. Okay. Energy vibes, that's all I can give you. Okay. And like I said, I know people want to have top 4 cryptocurrencies, but I don't have that for you, right? And I don't want to appear as some type of expert on cryptocurrencies because I'm not, right? I'm just feeling into its energy, and XRP feels brilliant and radiant. And that's really the only one I'm recommending. Okay. Thank you for your question. Okay, this one here is from David. David says, for Adronis, hello and much love. What is the reason and significance of Jacob's star appearing? Does it entail something? Okay, Jacob's star appearing, does it entail something? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. When you're looking at the nature of Jacob's star recently appearing, it indicates the beginning of what you would term as the age of Aquarius. Jacob's star is representing a demarcation pertaining to an old age coming to an end and the new age coming together. Now, even when you're looking at the biblical nature of Jacob, one of the things that Jacob did was able to give a well to the Samaritans. And when we look at the nature of the well, to where you are dipping down the bucket and pulling up the water, indicating the nature of the age of Aquarius in that analogy. Jacob, in biblical terms, would represent a type of liaison representative to the age of Aquarius. And that would be the significator of an old age about to leave and a new age coming together, representing the brightness, shining presence of the Jacob star. We thank you. Okay. There you go, David. Hope that helps you. Let's go ahead and move on. Those are all the donation-based questions, everybody, so thank you very much so far, unless there's other ones coming up. But those are the ones I have for now. Let's go up to the top of the chat here. Okay, this one here is from MLK. They say, hi, Brad, is it true the food's been injected with what you know meat veggies? I don't understand the question. MLK, you might have to share it with me again. Is that true? The food's been injected with what you know meat veggies? I don't understand the question, MLK. I'm sorry. You may have to just reword it a little bit because I'm really not getting what you're saying. Something about an injection and stuff like that. But again, guys, we have to be careful, right? Because there's censorship here. So if you can rephrase the question a little bit, I'm not really getting my brain around your question. Okay, so maybe try rephrasing it further down the chat. Okay, let's go down a little bit more. Okay, this one is from John. John says, I think it's Jan. Oh, sorry, John. It is John. Okay. Question, can Adronis tell us the situation of this huge coming hurricane and future more? Okay, well, do you need Adronis to tell you? Because I can basically tell you right flat out, okay? So this is kind of like what Adronis has also talked about, so I'm kind of referencing what he shared about that. In these times that we're going through right now, where you're seeing the defeat of this old cabal, you are going to see them basically do horrendous things. Okay, they are firing up a lot of their weather technology. They still have control to certain HARP stations, and they're basically pumping up the approaching hurricane presence, just like it's on steroids. Okay, And they're basically trying to do that with everything. They're losing. They are losing everything. They're being cut off, and nothing is really being given to them. And so they are frantic. And so they will fire up their weaponry because this is what they've always done, going back centuries, guys. This is not new. Okay? They will fire up their weaponry and they will threaten and they will create fear and they will create control. Either you give us this or we'll destroy the entire east coast of the United States. That's basically what they're saying. You either give us back our power, you either give us back our resources, you either give this back to us, or we'll take all the technology that we have and we will annihilate the east coast of the United States. Okay? So that's what they're doing. They're basically trying to fire up this weaponry. They're basically trying to find all of these storm fronts out in the ocean and trying to pump them up and basically have a blitzkrieg of hurricanes hit the East Coast. Okay, maybe even along Mexico as well too, maybe somewhere around Eastern Canada. Okay, but that's what they're doing. They're basically just pointing their weapons. They're putting these hurricanes on steroids, and they're releasing them. Right? It's like a blitzkrieg. It's just a blitz of all of these things that they're doing. This is a significator that they are dying out very, very quickly. Okay. So guys, you know that on my channel just recently, I put up a guided meditation to help shrink down hurricanes. Do you see now why I say it's so important for tens of thousands of people to do this together? Because you will see the hurricane shrink. For just doing it with a few of us, it's not really going to have that much of an impact. If we're together within the 5,000, 7,500, 10,000 at least, that's making a difference. I've had people email me and said, Brad, I've worked with groups and we've been doing your guided meditation, and we can see that the hurricane is indeed going down like by 30%, 30, 40%. That's great. That's fantastic. That's why I create these things for, right? And it's just a matter of you guys having to be the messengers and sharing it to your groups, sharing it to your lists, sharing it to your contacts, okay? And basically just say, let's just do a guided meditation, everybody. If you know people who run guided meditations en masse, show them the video, right? And say, can we do this together? If you guys have tens of thousands of people, 50,000 people, let's get together, let's clear away all these hurricanes, because we have the power to do it, right? But I, as one person, can't do it. We, as the few, just can't do it ourselves. We need the many. Okay. So on my channel, again, there's that video, completely free. All I suggest is please just pass it around. Pass it around to other people. Tell people about it. Go to people who are running big groups, right? There are groups all over the planet that basically have YouTube channels that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And all you guys have to do is contact them, show them the hurricane video and saying, can we please work together with your groups to help shrink down these hurricanes? And if they're in agreement, then you have 50, 75, 100,000 people doing this. Those hurricanes will be gone. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, guys. I'm happy to make these videos, but like I said, I need you guys. You have a responsibility as well. I'm sharing it out to my lists, but I need you guys to share it out to yours. I need you guys to share it out to your contacts. So whenever I make a video, I'm always sending it out to my lists, okay? But we need more lists. We need more people. So if that is being brought forward, then like I said, you're going to have some incredible experiences and results of doing those particular simple meditations. Like I said, we're just taking the energy out of it, and we're bringing that pure energy back into the earth, onto the land, onto the sea, and empowering it, making it immune to these things. And we'll watch how the hurricanes just start to break up as soon as they start going upon the land. Okay, that's what we can all do. But like I said, we all have to do our part. We're all in this together, right? So that's what I recommend. And it's good that we're getting that passed around, but we need a lot more people doing that. Okay, so please share it with your lists. That's what I suggest. But again, in a nutshell, that's what they're doing. They're basically using weapons technology. They're using weather modification, and they're basically blowing up these storms. That's what they're doing, because this is all they know. All they know how to do is threaten and create fear and basically try to control everything that Adronis says. Well, there's your typical 95%. They don't know how to do anything else but threaten and fight and try to create fear and all that. And that is what makes them extremely weak. Okay? A person who has nothing but rolling up their fists and rolling up their sleeves and trying to threaten a person is the weakest person of them all, right? And that's basically the weak that is going to fall apart. So that's them. They think they know everything. They think they're so resourceful because they have all this technology, but they underestimate the power of the people. And the people can overwhelm them at any given moment because there are billions of us and there's very few of them. Right? When the people all stand up, they're done. So I think that's where we're just on the verge of watching right now. Okay. Thank you, John, for your question. Okay, this one here is from Krati. Krati says, Dear Adronis, how do we get into a theta state? Can you talk to your cells, give instructions for healing in that state? Do the cells respond in theta state? One moment. We thank you very much for your question pertaining to the theta state consciousness. Now, you have to understand that cells themselves are not independent. They all follow together with monadic intelligence. So when you are aligning the brain waves within yourself to become a very high theta, and we will show you exactly how to do this right now. Everyone, just take a moment. Be seated if you are not seated. Straighten your spine. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Once again, inhale. Exhale. One more time, inhale. Exhale. And with yourself relaxed, we want you in your mind to see a sunflower. We want you to picture a sunflower within your mind right now. And forget everything else that's around you. Just zero in on that sunflower. Be aware of its core. Be aware of its beautiful geometry. Be aware of its petals. And we would like you to go up and smell the flower. Smell the sunflower. We want you to take your fingers and just gently rub against its petals. And really feel the texture, really feel the texture, really feel it. And give it another smell. Do you know what's happening right now? You have entered the theta state. You are making what is in your mind completely real to your body. That's the nature of the theta state. The theta state is taking what you are able to see with the mind and making it very lucid, very practical, very real in response to the physical body. So when you're working together with the theta, it really just comes down to deep visualization, like a daydream state, where you are able to see something with great clarity or feel something with great clarity. In fact, we would say that one pertaining to sexual arousal is also the nature of a theta state. One who may see something truly beautiful and truly majestic is a theta state. One who feels very, very hungry or thirsty and is able to see their favorite food item or their favorite drink, feeling themselves actually drinking it down, is a theta state. So again, the theta state represents a type of deep daydream-like state. It's being able to have a simple visualization within the mind that you are making real. As you do that, everything pertaining to the vibrations of a high theta spikes up. The brain waves are primarily influencing the cells within your body to operate in that theta state, because that is where the gear shift of the mind is taking the body. It is a spiking of the theta. Therefore, everything within the body corresponds to that spike because it is a vibrational shift. So what your body aligns to, the cells will follow. You again have your saying. Energy flows where the mind goes. And that is very much in harmony with the cells. So the cells will always flow in the gear shift of the mind to where it is moving into the theta. And through the theta comes the influence of what you're envisioning. You may see yourself healing a wound. You may have a broken bone, and you're putting your hand there, and you're being able to foresee within your mind that the arm itself is completely well, that it is absent of a fracture. And as you hold that in the deep theta, the body is going to correspond with that. The immune system is going to respond. The blood circulation is going to respond. All of the internal processes, the internal systems of your body are going to respond to the mind shifting in that gear. And the more that you're holding on to it, the more that the mind will correspond with the body to bring about that desired effect. So, yes, the cells will correspond pertaining to the vibration of the shifting of your mind based upon where you take it. All right? We thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Cruddy, for your question. Are we on time? We got about 10 minutes left. Okay. So let's see. Okay, this one here is from Solstice, like the name. Adronis, what time frame would you place the creation of the AI system? Would it be accurate to say it was around the fall of Atlantis? Well, he did speak about this. He talked about this in the transmission. He said it arrived shortly before the moon came upon the planet. Now, the moon was basically here at the tail end of Atlantis, okay? So we would say that close to the end time of Atlantis would be more close to the approximation. It would be kind of like closer to the time where Atlantis was just starting to become a lot more corrupt, right? They were more warlike in that way. That would be much more of the appropriate time to where duality was really hitting the planet, that something of that AI can come together. But there really is no exact date. So basically, we could almost say like maybe the last couple of thousands of years of Atlantis would be an approximate time to when that AI could show itself. Okay, so that's the closest approximation that can be given. We're still a little rough around the edges of exactly when Atlantis fell. Some people will say 11,500. Some people will say 12,000. Some people will say 12,500. Right? There's just a range. We don't have those exact answers. So again, this is why it's kind of a ballpark figure pertaining to when the AI itself started to root itself around the Earth. My feeling is that it's been here a very, very long time, but it started to adapt and it started to grow and basically become the type of system program that it did at some particular point. We don't know how long it's been here for, right? And I think they're still trying to figure out these things because, like I said, that AI, from what Adronis was saying, that AI can take particular any form. It's polymorphic, okay? So they may not have a date on when this thing arrived, and they don't really work on dates. They really don't care when it's arrived. All that matters is that it's here and that they're working to take care of it. Okay? But thank you, Solstice, for your question. Okay. Okay, going down a bit further. Okay, this one here is from Paula. Paula says, hi, Brad, a question for Adronis. Are the energies referred to as angels, archangels, and seraphim part of the AI program? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. The answer would be both yes and no. All right. It depends upon the orientation. It's depend upon the idea of how an angel or an archangel or a seraphim may be utilized that could be posited directly into the mainframe of an AI-based system like what we're talking about. That is certainly possible. And it can also exist beyond the mainframe of the system program. That too is certainly possible. So the answer would be both. It really depends on the circumstance. It really depends on the situation. It really depends on one's own viewpoint. There are those of you upon this planet that feel the entire nature of angels, archangels, seraphim is nothing more than a ploy, is nothing more than a type of program. As we've stated, partially that is correct. And then there are those of you who will connect to the angels, connect to the archangels, connect to the seraphim, and feel something truly divine and loving and encouraging that has helped you to make yourself better. And that is correct. Do you see how it's not just this side or that side? It's all together. It's union. It truly is. Even when you look at these particular facets that are disturbing, you're looking at one particular facet of it. There's something far greater that goes beyond it that you have not seen. Did you know that many of the words and terms that you have through your common languages actually represent beings in higher planes? Do you know that there is actually a being that is made completely purely out of love? Did you know that there is a being completely made purely out of compassion, made purely out of joy, made purely out of bliss, also made purely out of malice, made purely out of hatred, made purely out of corruption, made purely out of lust? There are beings that represent that. But again, they do not have a physical form. They represent a presence. And how we bring about those words, how they are delivered, how they are conveyed, how they are felt, you are tuning in to the consciousness, the beingness of that very term that represents the heart of such beings. That's the idea. So again, there's always something greater than you think that there's something lesser. What you think is less, there is a greater existence of something more, but you can't see it because you're caught in the veil. So we would say that when you look at angels, archangels, seraphim, etc., there is again the lessening of what that can represent pertaining to a left brain culture, and there is a greatening pertaining to those who are able to tune into the right hemisphere of the brain and see far beyond the veil pertaining to the system program. So this is why we say both are valid based on perspective. All right? We thank you for your question. Adronis just knows how to deliver, so that's great. Thank you, Paul. It's a very good question as well, too. Thank you for that. Okay. Are we on time? Okay, I think we'll take about one or two more questions. We're going to wrap up here. Let me just, okay, I think we got past all of the donation-based questions. Okay. Okay, here's one from Sito. Sito says, question, using those 3 affirmations or listening to them in repeat while sleeping, is it possible to change us enough to become part of the 5% of people who will leave this programming made by this AI? You see, it's not about method. And I know a lot of that's one of the first things that people will pop in and say, okay, well, there's got to be a method to this. Methods don't bring realization, my friends. Okay, it's like me. When I first started this, right, I was basically having an arsenal of different methods, right? And it wasn't about methods, it was about feeling, right? It was about clarity. It's about touching your heart, right? That's part of the redundant program, the feedback loop. The feedback loop tries to give you the idea that if you do some type of external method, it's going to come to you. That's wrong. That's following the ledger of things and not the heart of things. It's not to say that you cannot work with methods, but methods can only take you so far. Methods will come to a point where they will be rendered completely useless. Okay, so even a lot of my methods that I create here that are free on this YouTube channel, like Adronis was talking about, the BCR technique, what they're doing is they're prepping you. Okay, you're getting prepped. But what makes the method very, very beneficial is then when you see past it. Okay, a method is basically meant to be sacrificed. You sacrifice the method because you're actually seeing beyond the external correspondence that there's the inner essence of it. and you're walking into that. So Sito, really what it comes down to is how deeply can you connect with your heart to see your own light? That's what it comes down to. There's no method for that, right? The method preps you to saying, okay, well, start tuning in, start tuning in, start tuning in. Okay, I'm tuning in. Okay. Now that you've done that method and you've learned to tune in, I want you to go in here and I want you to see your own light. I want you to see your own compassion. I want you to see the light of your own heart that tells you calmness and peace is the way. But you don't do it as a means of a method. You do it because this is the clarity that awaits you. Clarity is what brings about the 5%. Okay? It's not a method. It's not an exercise. It's not a practicum. It's not a curriculum. All those things are fine and dandy because they're prepping you. Okay? The things that I have here are prepping you guys. But it is impossible for any method to bring you clarity. Can't be done. Okay, if that was the way, guys, we'd have a magic book on our shelves. And this magic book just brings clarity to everybody. All 8 billion people, you just read the book and right when you're at the last chapter, you're good, right? And you're all now the 100%, so the 5%. Doesn't work that way, okay? So anything that we consider to be acquired knowledge, anything that we consider to be the ledger is just a prep. It's just a preparatory process. But again, there will be a point to where that particular ledger, that method, that practice will be completely useless and you throw it away. And this again is another problem with humankind. They hold on to ledger. They hold on to practice. They hold on to method because they're still completely confined to identity. And identity is the system process, right? It's still part of the system by holding on to identity. It's exactly how our genes all got manipulated. Value identity, value authority. Look at the ledger of things and follow it like an abundant servant. And that's what you're doing. You're looking at the outside to try and receive clarity from the inside. Impossible. Impossible. So this is why you only have a practice up to a certain point where it says I need to throw the book away. So if I'm teaching you guys a lot of these things, and I mean this in a kind of a nice way, you have to kill the teacher. Okay? You're going to get to the point where the teacher will be killed. Not literally. Okay? Don't need any of you guys showing up to my door with torches in your hands. Okay? But everything that represented the methods that was given to you by the teacher has to die. There is an old saying in regards to, I think it's an old story of a monk that was basically attempting to go to Buddhahood. And a master would tell him that as soon as you see Buddha on the road, kill him. Okay? Doesn't mean you're doing it literally. But what it's saying is that you need to let go of everything that represented the preparation teachings for yourself. And now come into yourself as a soul. Come into yourself as an empowered being. Think for yourself. Feel the light within yourself and just embrace it. Embrace it. Bathe in it. Saturate yourself with it. Clarity is never something that can be given to you by a teacher. This is why you have to kill the teacher. The idea of clarity pertaining to a method is never going to be given to you. That's why you got to throw away the method. It needs to be thrown away at a certain point. This is what I realized as well too, right? So I had, like I said, a lot of methods when I was first starting, going back about 15 years ago. And starting to look at all of these different methods and thinking that something is going to help me get out of all this pain and all that stuff. And it's just when I would get these realizations. These are my problems. These are things that I have to resolve myself. I can't get anybody else to do this for me. I can't get Adronis to come in and take care of all my problems. I have to do it myself because that is the sweetness of killing the teacher and bringing in the clarity of yourself. The teacher has now died. And now you hold the essence of the teacher within yourself because you have gained that clarity. Okay. Am I a teacher, guys? Yes, I am. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. I've seen so many people who's, oh, I'm not a teacher. I'm not. You are. You're a teacher. Stop BSing yourself, right? When they're giving good methods and they're sharing all this, and you can see them, you can see in their eyes, they're part of the 5%, right? And I admit that I am a teacher. Okay, and there will come a point where you will need to kill me. Okay, you will need to kill me because you want to put aside the teaching. You want to put aside the prep. You don't need to be prepped anymore. Okay, it's all about coming into the heart, feeling the light, embracing the light, let clarity come to you. And clarity just comes. Clarity is a one-way flow. Okay, you cannot control clarity. Clarity has to come to you, but it will have an opportunity to come when you're surrendering everything, even the teacher. So that's something important to know. All right, so Cito, a very good question as well too. So guys, that will wrap up our broadcast for today, our webcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your questions. You guys had really great questions. I really appreciate it. We got quite a big audience here today as well too. So join me tomorrow on Rumble on the Signpost Live. We're going to be doing a Zodiac spread on more about the system program. Okay. Again, once the live is done, then shortly afterwards, I'll be putting up the Signpost episode here on YouTube. Might be edited because of censorship, but nonetheless, you'll get the gist of it if by chance you don't have Rumble in your country. Okay. Thank you, guys. Blessings to you all. Have a great rest of the day. See you all tomorrow on Signposts. Namaskar, and may be well with you. Bye for now.